Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing episode 3 of our Road to 2K guide, where I take you guys from a brand new beginner player or someone that's never played ranked before, and I build you up to be able to beat all of the AIs and then also get to a really high rank on the rank ladder. Today we'll be showing you guys how to tackle the moderate AI. And we're going to be building on from what we learned in the last episode where we had like the basics of the game. Today, the main topic is going to be the different ages and what to expect from Dark Age to Feudal Age to Castle Age, and then finally in Imperial Age. My teaching method is very practical, and today we're going to cover a lot of ground. So let's hop into a little bit of theory, and then we'll go ahead and jump in and tackle that moderate AI. So the start of every Age of Empires 2 game will begin in the Dark Age. The Dark Age is actually rather simple. The main goal is to click up to the Feudal Age, which costs 500 food and requires you to have 2 buildings. We want to spend the least amount of time in Dark Age. This is because this is the age where we have the least amount of options, and it's the age where we are the most vulnerable. We don't have towers or stone walls to defend ourselves. And on top of that, the palisades and the houses have less HP than what they have in Feudal Age. The only army you can make in the Dark Age is a militia from the barracks. Only one exception to this rule is Armenians that can make the spearmen. But in general, no civilization can do a whole lot in the Dark Age, and so the main goal is just to get to Feudal Age as fast as possible. When you get to a more advanced stage, you'll learn that, if you upgrade to Feudal Age a bit later on, you can set up what's called a fast castle, which allows you to rush to the Castle Age. Or if you don't care for that, you can just go up as fast as possible, which we call a fast Feudal Age, which is the basis for every rushing strategy in the game. A general rule of thumb just to remember is that on closed maps like Arena and Black Forest, the general strategy is to rush the Castle Age because there's not much action in Feudal Age that can break through stone walls or really tight passages. But on open maps such as Arabia or Atacama or whatnot, the main approach is just to rush to Feudal Age as fast as possible. Moving on to the Feudal Age, this is where we start to see a little bit of action, especially on those open and aggressive maps. So on open maps, we're going to be making some units to attack our opponent and start contesting the map. The main goal here is still to get the Castle Age as fast as you can. However, you have to be reasonable about it. If you decide to not make any military in Feudal Age, you leave yourself very vulnerable to your opponent. In Feudal Age, your opponent can make stuff like scouts, can make stuff like men-at-arms, archers, spearmen, skirmishers, and these units are a pretty decent threat to just exposed villagers. So you have to defend yourself one way or another. So either you wall up or defend yourself with some towers, or you just make some army yourself and contest the map, either by pressuring your opponent, forcing him to make army as well, or to just defend yourself and allow yourself to get to Castle Age safely. Feudal Age is, in my opinion, a stepping stone from Dark Age to Castle Age, and it's really what allows you to set up your base exactly how you want it to have a clean and consistent Castle Age. There are some cases in Feudal Age where we're going to add in a lot of military and pressure opponents with multiple scouts, even start picking up upgrades in the blacksmith, stuff like bloodlines to really boost them up and go for the kill. But these instances are rare and not really worth considering as a beginner. For the most part, we just want to see Feudal Age as that stepping stone from Dark Age to Castle Age. Alright, moving on to Castle Age, this is actually a very important age, and according to me, it's probably the most important. It's because in Castle Age, you can get an economic advantage without having to attack your opponent, and that is because we get the ability to add in extra town centers. This is an absolutely essential part of Age of Empires. Having extra town centers allows us to make villagers faster than our opponents at 2 or 3 times the rate, depending on how many town centers we add. And of course, there's no limit. So we can, in theory, add in 10 extra town centers and then have 11 town centers compared to our opponent who just has the 1 if he's stuck in Feudal Age, stonewalling the entire map with 5 layers. And so in this scenario, you'll see that we can easily outplay our opponent and just get so far ahead by making so many more villagers while he's stuck playing in the Feudal Age with 1 town center, trying to secure the map that will give him a fool's safety and not actually give him anything substantial because he's not watching this guide. However, there's a balance that comes with adding in town centers. You see, adding in town centers is great, but it is a very costly investment. I'm not going to go too deep into this topic for now because I have some other videos on the YouTube channel that do go pretty deep into Castle Age and adding in town centers and whatnot. But the basic concept is that the more town centers we add, the less military we can have on the field until those extra villages pay off. And so what it really comes down to is just a balance between how much economy we make versus how much military we make. In Castle Age, your military is very strong. You get access to knights, cavalry archers, and even some reasonably strong siege weapons like battering rams and mangonels. On top of that, you get the best building in the game, the castle. This building is very powerful both on offense and on defense. So someone who goes for a forward castle against someone who's just adding an economy, well, it could get really rough for the guy who's just adding an economy because the castle will do a lot of damage village, even as just a standalone building, not to mention any other military units that could accompany that forward castle. And so in Castle Age, you really start to have to make these decisions between, do you want to add some economy? Do you want to pressure your opponent with a forward castle? Do you want to have a defensive castle to keep yourself safe? Do you want to add in some military units? Do you want to add in some siege to pressure your opponent? You have a bunch of different options, but not to overwhelm you. It's really quite simple. If you are safe at home, then adding in economy is the best way to go. If you're not safe at home, then you want to add in military, and anything in between, you want to go ahead and balance it out. Maybe half economy and half military, like adding in one town center and making some army at the same time. These are all options that you have to consider, and just seeing it as a balance between adding in military to economy can help you visualize what you need to do in Castle Age. Moving on to Imperial Age, this is the end game. We cannot get any stronger than this. There's no fifth age. Imperial Age is where the game always ends if you get there. However, there's a lot of stuff to research. The main game plan, just to keep it simple for us, is to max out all the upgrades on units that we are currently making or units that we plan to make in the near future. Don't get overwhelmed and just start picking up upgrades for stuff that won't be useful for you in the next like 5 to 10 minutes. If you think you might make a unit in like 30 minutes, don't get the upgrades until you're 5 minutes away from making that unit. This is general advice for you to focus your resources on what matters immediately and not what could matter in the future. It's a very common beginner trap to want to just upgrade everything just in case, but it's really not necessary, and it's not worth taking those just in case measures because that makes us weaker for what actually matters. Since we're just starting off, to keep it simple for us, in Imperial Age, what we want to do is just pick a good composition and get to 200 pop. We also want to never stop making villagers because that's one way to get to 200 pop as quickly as possible. If we have extra villagers after getting to 200 pop, which is the max population in the standard game, we can easily just delete some villagers or send them forward to make a risky castle that might get stopped at 99%. We don't know. But of course, if those villagers are expendable, that's completely fine and we can take those risks. But if you never get to 200 pop, then you're never unlocking your full potential, and that is one of the biggest traps for beginners. Also, if you never get to 200 pop, you're never going to learn how to manage large armies and large economies, which will really plateau your progress as a developing player. Take my advice and try to get to 200 pop as quickly as possible by picking a good army composition and spamming that army from multiple production buildings, and also never stop making villagers from multiple town centers. Like this, you'll have no problem getting to 200 pop and then playing from there. And I'll leave you with the one last golden rule for your army composition. In 99% of games, this is what your setup should look like. One gold-based unit, which is your main unit. That's your power unit. That's what your civilization is supposed to be good at. Then you have one trash unit, which we call a unit that does not cost any gold. Usually they cost food and wood or just food. And this is your support unit, or a unit that's expendable, that has a certain role. They don't care if they die in process of filling that role. You can make them pretty much indefinitely. And then to round out your composition, you have a siege unit that can break buildings. If you use this golden rule for your army composition, it's going to really simplify the game for you in late game, where there's so many options on the field, and a lot of beginners try to just max out their composition with like 5 or 6 different units. That's impossible even for a pro like me to manage. Keep it simple, 3 different units, all filling their role, all harmonizing perfectly together. A few common examples are as follows. One example could be Paladin as the gold unit, Elite Skirmisher as the trash unit or support unit that will go ahead and destroy halberdiers, which is what you're worried about when you're playing Paladin. And then your siege unit could be something like trebuchets that can kill buildings at a very long range. Another example is something like Arbalest as your main gold unit, and then you have halberdier as your trash unit to protect your Arbalest against cavalry, and then your siege unit is bombard cannons to protect your Arbalest from enemy scorpions and onagers. These two compositions are just classic examples of beautiful late game compositions that harmonize so well together and absolutely destroy most of what they can be up against. Alrighty, now we're going to go right back to playing the game. This is going to be the moderate AI on Arena, and like I said earlier, this is the last video we're going to be playing on Arena, where our stone walls will protect us from any early game raids. I do stand firm that playing on Arena is really good if you're a beginner player that just wants to like learn the game, doesn't want to get overwhelmed and be too exposed on Arabia for their first few games, but then we're going to move towards Arabia as we go further and further in the series. For my civilization, I went ahead and picked up the Japanese for this episode. I just picked it randomly just because I felt like it could be really fun to play with something like Samurai, maybe Arbalest, with their Catapult or Trebs. It's a really fun civ. I think it will be very interesting for you guys to watch. And like I said last time, you can basically play any civilization that you find enjoyable. Some civs are more beginner friendly than others, but hey, the choice is yours. As long as you know what your civilization does, you're going to be in for a good time. I'd recommend you play something that you enjoy because that's going to keep you hooked on the game for longer than something that you don't enjoy, for example. All right, with all that said, let's go ahead and hop into a game of Arena with the Japanese. And I'm going to go a little bit, I'm going to take off a lot of cheats. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth than last time. We're playing against the moderate AI, so it's going to be a little bit harder. And last time we won the game with a single unit, just simple, straight up Paladin. Don't think we even made any siege. This time we're going to try to work on what we learned in the theory section. We're going to work a 3-unit composition for late game, and the early game is going to be working on our economy. I'm also going to show you guys how to do a fast castle, and with all that said, let's go ahead and hop right in. Alright, so hopping in, we got the Japanese versus Ethiopians, and like last time, we're going to just build up on some of the basics that we learned from. So we'll start with some houses, because we need it. We're at 5 population, we have already 4. We don't want to get housed, so we'll make a couple houses. And we'll start with getting in some food. Our scout can easily just scout around the map real quick. All right. And then we can go ahead and start eating the sheep, or in this case, the cow. We're going to be building on from what we talked about last time. Remember, this is our last episode in Arena, so we got to kind of move out of our comfort shell of having the stone walls. But now that we have the stone walls, we can go for what's called a fast castle. We're not going to worry about any build orders, any tight, like, super sharp early games, all right, where it's looking super nice and we're hitting the perfect times. It's not what this video is about. For this video, we just want to work on the concept of a fast castle. And to get to a fast castle, we need to stick in Dark Age for a little bit longer. This breaks what we talked about in the start of the video, where we're trying to get to Feudal Age as fast as possible when it comes to, the early game. But because we have the stone walls, and we know that in Feudal Age, units can't really break stone walls easily, we can take advantage of that by going for a fast castle. I'm going to use my hotkeys to make the lumber camp. So again, you can click this and then make the lumber camp. Or I can use hotkeys, and my mouse is here. Use my hotkeys, build, then lumber camp, and then go ahead and place it. We're going to get used to making lumber camps and mining camps with our hotkeys in this episode. And as you saw there, I'm also introducing shift queuing with our economy units, just to get you into the habit of shift queuing stuff. We do it all the time with our scouts, so we click, then we shift. There we go. We can also do that with your economy. All right, cool. So we're going to mix a little bit of food and wood, because at this point, the early game, we know what we want to do. We want to get in, a couple buildings, and we want to get to 500 food. That's the main goal when it comes to the Dark Age. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll spend a bit more time in the Dark Age. Now we'll just auto scout with my scouts since I scouted all my cows. The main goal of the Dark Age here is to get the Castle Age, so we'll stay a little bit longer in the Dark Age to set up a cleaner transition to the Castle Age. I'll explain that concept right now, all right? Let me just make a house. Actually, let's make it easy. Let's make 4 houses, and I'll shift queue them all, and then send him right back using shift queue to the sheep. Just showing you what's possible with some of our mechanics here, and hey, those chickens are looking pretty good, so let's take those again. Instead of doing build, mill, and making it here, instead of that, I'm going to use my hotkeys. So build with my hotkey, then mill, and then put it right there. All right, simple as that. And again, you can use your neutral hotkeys if you want. Not a problem with that. I'm using my custom hotkeys, but completely fine to use whatever you have as a setup. Again, you can shift queue all your chickens if you want to. There you go. You just shift queue as part of your economy to just control your villagers. Okay, so let me explain the concept of staying a little longer in the Dark Age. The basic idea is that as you go to Feudal Age, you can't make any more villas. So if I go to Feudal Age with like 19 villagers, in that 2-minute window where I'm going up to Feudal Age, I only have 19 villagers working, which is really not that many villas working during that time. So I probably can't afford to click up the Castle Age when I'm done researching Feudal Age. And then I'm going to be stuck spending extra time in Feudal Age, which slows me down from my goal of getting to Castle Age fast, right? So the main goal then is to spend a little bit more time in Dark Age, get to something like 24, maybe 25, maybe 26 villagers, all right? And then when I click up to Feudal Age, I'm going to have 26 villagers working, or 24 villagers working. Get that boar in. Excellent. And so with the 24, 25, or 26 villas working on the way up from Feudal Age to, from Dark Age to Feudal Age, then I should be able to click up to Castle Age when I get to the Feudal Age. All right, so I'll show you guys that in practice. I made a bunch of houses just to not have to worry about it. What I'm showing you in this video is that we really want to make the game as easy as possible. Here, instead of queuing 1 vill, I can make more vills. Just spam the queue, all right? Spam the queue, make it easy on us. We're going to bring in that next boar. I'm on the chickens. The berries looking juicy as well. I'm going to go ahead and use those guys. Bring in that second boar. Again, still playing rather chill. I think it's a step up from the last video, for sure. But I'm still playing rather chill. It's pretty slow. I'm sure everyone can follow along. If it's complicated, rewind a little bit. See where my clicks are going. And you should be more than fine with that. So here again, mill. Let's do it with hotkeys. There we go. Excellent. Oh, I'm running out of my animals. So when you start to see you're running out of animals, my recommendation is don't wait for it to happen. Start to send some villas away earlier, before that happens, so that you should be in a good position. Again, just queue a bunch of villas here. All right, before we click up, we'll just cancel them. I just want you to queue a bunch of villas, because what we want to avoid is having an idle town center. An idle town center is really bad, because it delays your villagers coming out of the gate. And when you delay a villager coming out, that's basically just that villager will have less time gathering resources, and your town center will be more time idle, which benefits us for nothing, basically. There's no benefit to idling that town center in the early game. So we keep that town center running, because the faster you bring out the vill, the faster it's going to gather resources. Our scout is just auto-scouting for now. I know it's a bad habit to build, but I think it's okay to do that for now. It's not a big deal. We'll fix it later. We'll work on the scouting in the next episode. All right. So here we're going to go ahead and now make a mining camp again with my hotkeys. All right. It's really simple. You just make your hotkeys, click them. And then you set them up with your mouse to just make sure you're making it in the right spot. Here I made a big mistake. I waited till my cow was done. I had 10 villas, didn't know what to do with them. But I just made farms using my hotkeys. There we go. Hotkey, farm, beautiful. Oh my goodness, 26 villas. I need to get up to the next age. No loom for now, because we have the arena walls. Click up to Feudal Age. And now with 27 villas, as you'll see, 27 villas working during Feudal Age. All right, during the advancement to Feudal Age. I promise you, when I get to Feudal Age, all right, when this bar is finished, I will easily be able to afford Castle Age, which is 800 food and 200 gold. But there's another requirement for Castle Age. I need 2 Feudal Age buildings. Generally speaking, we make the blacksmith and the market. So a typical fast castle is just getting up to the Castle Age, getting up to Feudal Age, making a market blacksmith with a few villas, making 2 villas from the town center, and then we click up the Castle Age right after that. And it's so smooth, and it's the best thing for beginners to use against the moderate AI, because it gets you to learn how to manage an economy. What I don't want you guys to do as a new player is try to manage military while you're doing economy in the early stages. Why? Because that completely defeats the purpose of developing your economy. You're going to get overwhelmed. You're not going to do the military portion correctly. You're not going to do the economy portion correctly. So focus on your economy for now. Use the stone walls to defend yourself, and only do the military in the late game once you've developed your economy fully. So here we go. I'll make my blacksmith, and again, you can just make it here, no problem. If you don't have all your hotkeys, that's completely fine. I can shift Q. Hera taught me this, so you just hold shift and right click, and then let go of shift after you're done clicking, and that's it. And these villagers are just sent to wood. I'll make 2 villas. Oh, I got some idols, no problem. You have that mod that I set you up with in the first episode. So you can see the idle villas easily. I'll just send them here. Actually, you know what? I'll make some farms around the mill. That makes sense. Might as well. They're right there. Cool. Market's about to be done. Castle Age is in. Beautiful, because we spent a little bit extra time in Dark Age. I'm going to get the Castle Age really fast. Just to tell you, by the way, a proper time to get the Castle Age. If we're doing a proper build order, all right, which you can find in my Patreon if you want to skip the queue, get to my build orders with color-coded, the PDF, the strategy guide. It's absolutely beautiful. You can get to Castle Age in Castle Age at 14 minutes, which you just passed. All right, that's doing it correctly. Not perfectly, just correctly. All right, and that's with 24 pop or 24 pop. Then you do +2, and you get to the Castle Age at 14 minutes. In this tutorial, in this video, we're not focusing on doing it correctly. We're just focusing on the concept, so that's okay. We get both eco upgrades because that makes sense. We could even get the gold upgrade. Hey, I'm mining some gold. I can go ahead and pick it up. It's not correct to do it right now, but my advice for beginners is to always just spend their resources as fast as possible. All right. So that's why if you're on anything that makes sense. So if like this, getting this does not make sense because I'm not making military right now. All right. So don't get those just yet. All right. So what we do is we just spend it on stuff that makes sense. Gold mining upgrade. I'm mining gold. Gets me more money. I'm all for it. We invest into that. Completely fine. And hey, my auto scout just scouted the entire map, so now I know where the relics are. I know where the chickens are. It's gonna help us for our later expansion down the line. Not worried about that for now. Right now, I'm worried about adding in town centers. Okay, so we're gonna do. Let's do as many town centers as we can afford. I can afford probably to add 2 extra, so I'll just do that. I'll pull vills from anywhere. Pro tip: trust me, learn it now. You'll never forget it. And replace them. You pulled from farm, just replace them. This TC will replace these 4 vills that I pulled to make the town center here. All right. Where else? Screw these gold vills. We're gonna move them to this town center. If I want more gold, I could replace them. But for now, I'm gonna focus on replacing the farm vills here. Then I want to pick up my economy upgrades. There we go. There we go. Pick those guys up. And okay, no, not much else to do. So what can you do when you're doing downtime? Whenever you're doing nothing, you got nothing to do here, because I'm just waiting for my town centers to come up. Think about what your next steps are. Don't just sit there waiting like you're waiting for the bus. Think about it. Like, ooh, I'm going to need some houses in a couple minutes. But since I'm doing nothing right now, I'm going to make some houses. People ask me all the time, Hera, you play so fast. Are you genetically gifted? Do you have a 3rd arm? No, I just manage my time efficiently. So I'm never doing nothing. That's the whole concept. I got 2 town centers. We're going to use our hotkey, select all town centers, and then make fills. It's the easiest thing in the world. I wish I can lift my keyboard and show you guys exactly what I'm clicking. Click whatever hotkey you have to select all town centers, and then click your make vill hotkey. For me, it's E. For the standard, it's Q to make a vill. That's it. Select TCs, make vills. Alright, now I'm going to show you guys how we do things a little bit quicker. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm just going to do it a little bit faster. And it's gonna look nice because I got economy just sitting there, resources waiting to be spent. Let's go ahead and spend them. So we're gonna buy 100 stone, buy 100 wood, make another town center. We're gonna replace this one, and we're gonna go ahead and select TCs, make a bunch of vills. This is gonna run out, so we're gonna make a couple farms. All right, got a little bit extra wood, so I'll make a couple farms. Playing a little bit faster, but not overwhelming you guys. I hope we're not overwhelming you. I'm just showing you what it looks like to do your economy a little bit faster, a little bit more efficient. So what does it mean to be efficient here? Same principles of Dark Age. The faster you make the vills, the faster the vills collect the resources. The faster you spend those resources, the more resources you're going to get per minute. So as you can see here, for example, I've got extra wood. Well, we got to spend that wood, because that wood in the stockpile is not doing anything. Now I want to show you guys, this is one of my best tips. This is called the spare villager to make houses in the back of your base. Oh my goodness. We have a name for this vill. On one of my earlier guides, we called it the Bob for the male and Sandy for the female, all right? Guys, the Bob or Sandy, you just need one. It's a 1-person job. In this case, I got a male doing it, no problem. He'll make a bunch of houses at the back of your base, all right? And you never have to get housed ever again. And the houses don't take up space from your precious farmland. Imagine you have a farmland and you have houses everywhere. How do you make farms? That's horrible. You don't want that. Houses at the back, farmland around the town center. Everybody's happy. Hey, wheelbarrow looks good right now. Oh, Hera, what's the perfect time to get wheelbarrow? Doesn't matter. Watch Spirit of the Law if you want to know. Hint, it's 14 farms. Should you get wheelbarrow at exactly 14 farms? No. No, it's perfect. We're 600 elo for God's sake. We're not trying to play perfectly. Just get wheelbarrow whenever you remember to get wheelbarrow. Like if you see it, oh, it's green. I'm going to get wheelbarrow. Done. Just pick it up. All right, keep making bills. Actually, shout out to Spirit of the Law. We're playing with the Japanese right now. One of my favorite YouTubers, by the way. I wonder if you guys are watching him as well. You probably are. He's way bigger than me. All right, keeping a bunch of farms. There we go. Just making them around. Also, don't get obsessed with every farm being close to like a mill or a town center. It's not that important, but basically once you get handcarts, even this farm can be perfectly efficient. This farm will be perfectly efficient like one that's close by. There's a complex reason for that, but I mean, it's not that complex. Basically, the villagers, after you get handcarts, have like a maxed out of how fast you can gather, which includes the walking time, by the way. So no matter where you put the farm, within reason, as if it's here and it has to drop to the town center here, then obviously it won't work. But yeah, basically, there's a max cap you can get of how much food per minute per farm. So you don't have to place them perfectly. And so the main point is you just focus on placing them fast. And as you see, I'm actually playing pretty quickly right now. But it's not anything crazy that I'm doing. I'm just making villas and making sure they're all working. I have 0 idols. It's a good, efficient economy. All of my villagers are doing what they're supposed to do, which is gather resources. Now, what's an inefficient economy? An inefficient economy is any real-time office job in real life. All right? Why is that inefficient? Because you're all watching my streams while you're working. That's why it's inefficient. Like, imagine I have an office job, and all of these guys, instead of working on the farms, they're sitting there idle. All right? They're watching my stream. These guys are not gathering food because they're sitting there idle. So every time you have an idle bill, put it back to work. Or you say, hey, you work from home, which means they're idle and you can't see them being idle. That's the worst case scenario for the company. In this case, us. But that's the best case scenario for the villagers. So if you want to give them a break, let them work from home. All right, enough with that. Now we got to get to Imperial Edge. Listen, we've been booming. I've got a lot of resources. I cannot manage this anymore. Can I make army in Castle Age? Sure I can. Is there a reason to make army in Castle Age right now? Not really. He's got stone walls. I got stone walls. I'm not under pressure. I don't really care to pressure him right now. Okay, let's just get to Imperial Age. I got way too much food and gold. Sorry, food and wood. Not enough gold. Let's get the gold mining upgrade. Let's pull villagers off of wood and send them outside to take some gold. But that's very exposed. All right. So why don't we defend it with a castle? We'll sell some wood. Sell a bit of food from the market. Buy a castle. So we'll have them make a castle, right? And then shift queue them to the mining camp. This is a bit risky, so I'm going to keep my scout in front to make sure that no one attacks them. Make the castle, and then we'll go ahead and make the mining camp. Just get this upgrade. I got to spend my resources. And get this. All right, keep making villas. Never stop. Just spam it. I got still too much wood. I'm going to pull some off wood. Mill. Auto farm. Aha, that's pretty cool. I'm not sure if I told you guys how to do that, so I'll teach you guys real quick. Pull some off wood. Mill. You hold shift after you selected the farm. So you select your farm. I did it with a hotkey, but you select your farm. Hold shift. It lights up green. Spam. Simple as that. All right, once the castle goes up, that's the building requirement to go up to Imperial Age. I can click up to Imperial Age. I'm going to get there. I need to get Loom as well. This is a good upgrade. Town Watch is a good upgrade. So it lets you see further. These are upgrades you get. Loom you should get a lot earlier, actually, in a standard game. On Arena, you get it when you're about to move out of your walls with villagers. So like right now. And oh boy, we're up to Imperial Age. Things are happening so quickly. We got to formulate a game plan, all right? So what's our game plan? Game plan number 1, never stop making villas. Trust me on that. Just trust me. Game plan number 2, we got to pick our composition. Speaking of Spirit of Law, guys, we are going to go for some Samurai. Take full advantage of the Japanese. So I'm going to go Samurai as the main unit. And I'm going to go ahead and upgrade my main unit first. It's a gold costing unit. It costs 45 food and 30 gold. It's blocked by my camera, but that's what it costs. I'm going to spam the Samurai. All right. I need more than one castle, because one castle is producing pretty quick, but it's a bit too slow for my tastes. And our opponent's already up to Imperial Age. We gotta really hurry up at the moment. So let's go ahead and make another castle. All right, we don't gotta use hotkeys for everything. We can make the castle without a hotkey. If you use it with a hotkey, it's better. We got way too much resources, way too much res in the bank. So what we're gonna do is gonna try to get some upgrades here. University. Gonna get us some upgrades. I'm gonna make a barracks. We're gonna need that. Oh, sorry. Did I make that with hotkeys? We're gonna take a step back here. Keep making vills. Oh my goodness, I'm getting a little stressed because we're moving so fast. Just kidding. I'm not actually stressed. I'm just pretending to be stressed. I don't know why, but there's no reason to do that. Alright, so I select my castles. I make it my samurai. Also, spam the Q, guys. Like, this is a good beginner habit, by the way. As you get to a pro player, this is inefficient because you want to have the resources in the stockpile to spend it on other stuff. This is a beginner, spam it, get the production up. That's way better. I need more stone. Market's my best friend. I'm just going to buy. So I'm going to sell my food. Use the market to balance your economy. Another castle, shift queue them back. Every upgrade that benefits the samurai, I'm going to get. Literally, I'm like a woman that's going to go shopping right now. with a credit card that isn't hers. I'm gonna get everything I see, and I'm not gonna worry about the price. Shout out to my wife. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead and get a mining camp over here. Go ahead and get a castle in front of it. Why not? All right. Oh, elite samurai makes sense. Remember, we're gonna upgrade our main unit first. Get full upgrades. And oh my goodness, this is horrible. I'm stopping my build production. Get back on the build production. All right. Trust me, it's completely fine. All my villas now, town centers, will go outside. We're gonna expand like we did last game. But oh my goodness, a hypothetical scenario here. My opponent has hand cannoneer, or he's got arbalest. They counter my samurai. We need skirmishers. That's enough, right, Hera? I'll get skirmishers from the one range. No, you got 4,000 wood. This is what you do. You hold shift and you spam, and you can even make it look nice here by leaving space in between if you want to. All right, or you can, on the other side, just spam it and get your ranges down. All right, I personally like them looking neat. 20 ranges, is that overkill? You can afford it, so it's not overkill. Fully upgrade your main unit first, your samurai. All right, now that I'm near 200 pop, by the way, you can stop making builds. All right, it's like a rule, but like if you're close to it, you're good. All right, we got a little bit extra builds though. 146, a bit too much. I'll keep it though. I'm not 200 pop, so I'll get the 200 pop first. So I'm gonna go ahead and fully upgrade my skirmisher now. You can get a second blacksmith if you want. Ooh, conscription, that's good. And what else do I need for my composition to be perfect? Did some walls. Oh, actually, hold on. There's upgrades here. This helps the skirmisher. This helps the skirmisher as well. Ballistics is good. Chemistry. So ballistics helps them hit moving targets. Chemistry gives them +1 attack. Lets you make gunpowder units as well. Japanese don't get bomber cannons, but we do get hand cannoneer. Gives us an option. This is good for siege weapons. We need a siege weapon, so we'll get this one. This one is good because it makes your castles stronger. We have castles, we'll make that. Or all buildings. We always have buildings, so we'll just get that one. Cool. But don't get things that won't matter for the next 5 minutes. So I'm not going to go ahead and upgrade halberdier just in case, because I don't need halberdier right now. I'm making skirmisher and samurai. Alright, skirmisher is my main unit. Samurai is my main unit, and skirmisher is my side unit. So I'm going to go ahead and send in samurai. Okay, got some of that. Damn some skirms. It's a good combo, by the way. Samurai only really dies like arbalest, and Ethiopian is really good with arbalest. So we'll go ahead and defend the samurai with skirms. He's expanding here. We're going to kill that. And now I'm 200 pop. Finally. I've been waiting for this moment. Take a bunch of vills and just delete them. Not like 30, 40. More like 10, 15, by the way. All right, now get to 200 pop. The goal is not to get to like 0 vills and then attack. The goal is to get to like a decent sized army, which is usually around like 60 units, 70 units, something like that, depending on what you're making. Now I'm gonna just get our siege unit out. So some trebuchets, all right? Bunch of trebs. I got so much res in the bank though. So what we can do is just use the market a little bit. Go ahead and make another castle. All right. And I should just attack my opponent. All right, these guys can go out here. Go ahead and make the castle and start expanding. I should just attack my opponent. There's no reason to give my opponent more time because I have so much res. So if I lose this entire army, I can remake it. All right. So I'm using what I call control groups. Okay, I'm going to teach you guys what that is in probably the next episode, actually. If you guys don't know already. Or you can just watch my video about control groups. I think it should be on YouTube. It's an old video, but it should be decent. But anyway, let's go ahead and attack my opponent here with 200 pop. Bunch of trebuchets. Cataperudo. This works for the treb. We get it. Ah, 2-man saw. That's an upgrade that works. Good, we'll get it. Any other upgrade that works for us? Oh, skirmish upgrades. I forgot. Get them. All right. So I'm not fully upgraded my skirms, but it's okay. I have enough to where I can pressure my opponent. So let's pressure my opponent here with the trebs. Let's break down his base with the samurai, with the trebs, whatever. I have a solid 3-point composition, which doesn't look like all that right now because our opponent doesn't really have many options on the field, many units on the field. But look at the arbalest. So skirms hit the arbalest at the back. Simple. And samurai hit the knights at the front. So how do we control this army? We're going to use what's called patrol. Samurai patrols in, or attack move, all right? We're going to back up. Samurai patrols in, and a skirmisher can patrol behind it, But if you have extra time, you can also select the skirmisher to target the arbalest. All right, it's a bit more advanced, but still doable even as a beginner. Idle villagers, select all idols, shift, delete, spam. As you're fighting, you spam army, and you also get your upgrades so that you get to the position where you're always 200 pop in late game. And that is a really good explanation of a beautifully played game start to finish on Arena. If you play exactly like I just played right now, you're gonna be beating so many different players. Like, you're stomping the modern AI right now. And I hope you guys are, as you're following along with this guide. We're going pretty fast though. Like, we already learned a bunch of different things about the game. We learned how to develop our economy pretty quickly. We learned how to get to 200 pop. We learned how important it is to make a bunch of production buildings. Because now look, if I go in there and I lose all my skirms, I'm not even worried. Because I've got so many resources in the bank, and I've got so much production on the field that I can remake my army probably like 10 times. And because I attacked my opponent here with my army, and I'm making the castles outwards, I'm going ahead and taking the resources on the map. This is very, very nice late game strategy where you put a castle near a mine, and if you take that mine, it basically pays back for that castle. But you still have that castle to control the map, which is really good. I did one thing bad though, one thing poorly. I didn't get my upgrades to my elite skirmishers in time. So I can always improve on this, get all my upgrades. But what I want to tell you guys, as my cat's meowing in the back, is that you don't need to play perfectly. If you miss upgrades, it's okay. You can give yourself a mental, a mental note, like, oh, okay, I missed that upgrade. Gonna go ahead and make sure I do that better next time, or maybe I'll make a second blacksmith to help me get them faster. But don't feel like you need to get all the upgrades before fighting. All right, because fighting when you get to 200 pop is really good. All right, you get to 200 pop, you're strongest you can be, trying to get all the upgrades. If you're not there yet, it's okay. Take a fight. All right, pressure your opponent. Try to pressure him with your siege. All right. Siege can hit the castle, the wall, or whatever, and send the army in. If you lose it, you can always remake it. And if you lose it when you're at 200 pop, it basically trades against your opponent's army. And if he's not 200 pop, you both lose the armies. You remake yours because you've got a really good economy set up behind it. If he's not doing as good as you with the economy, he won't be able to remake his army. So then you attack him again. Trade again. This time, you win the fight by a little bit. And then you have full reinforcements flooding in because you've got the economy for it. So as you can see, using this method of getting a really strong economy first and then pressuring your opponent is the best way to learn the game, and it's the best way to beat the moderate AI. And I hope you guys can try this yourselves and try to get the same results as I did with whatever civ you played. As you can see, just a reminder here, one siege unit that can break buildings, one trash unit as a support unit, and one gold unit. I upgraded my main unit first, made it first, then I made my secondary unit, and then I made my siege. Or you can make your siege a bit earlier with your main unit to go for a quicker push. You've got options, right? Also, I didn't need the skirms in this game because I didn't really see that he was on our arbalest. So usually you want to see what he's doing and then go for like the unit that fits it, right? But if you're sure you want to be on Samurai Skirm, it's like your favorite composition, just go into it right away. It's absolutely perfect. And the last thing I'll say, because I'm mixing a gold unit with a non-gold unit and then a siege unit, I have enough gold to remake this army like 5 to 10 times, okay? If I go with like Cavalier, plus Arbalest, plus Samurai, plus Heavy Scorpion, plus Monks, plus Onagers, plus Halberdier, I'm spending so much of my gold on technology. And then I'm spending so much of my gold on all these different gold units. And in the end, my army is so hard to use. Like, I can't even use an army composition that's built based upon 5 or 6, 7 different units. It's really difficult to use that correctly. So in the end, you're spending so many of your resources, all right, on the upgrades and on setting up that army comp, and you're getting a worse result. Here, just 1, 2, 3 different units. Send the samurai in first, skirm behind them. If you're a good player, you have extra time, use some of the skirms to target the arbalest individually, and that's literally perfect. That's how you take fights at a basic to intermediate level. No problem. Siege behind it and defend your siege. All right. Not much else to say. We could play a little bit better. We could play the, we could pick up the relics if you guys are a bit more advanced. But this is a really solid setup for where I want you guys to be after episode 3. Hope you guys are enjoying the guide so far. Hopefully I'm not going too fast or too slow. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this guide. If you have any further questions, let me know. Next episode, we're going to be tackling the hard AI, and we're going to be switching to Arabia and talking about early game army control, like in Feudal Age. Might even introduce a builder or two. We'll go from there. And we'll take you guys to the journey of beating the extreme AI and then going from 1,000 to 2,000 elo on the rank ladder in real time against real opponents. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you guys did enjoy and want to support my work here on YouTube. And if you want to support me further than that and you want to get a bit of extra benefit yourself, check me out on Patreon, where I have all of my exclusive guides. Much better than this one, by the way. Much more advanced, much more in-depth. So if you want to take your game to the next level, definitely check out the Patreon. And there's also my color-coded PDF builder or strategy guide that shows you like 25 or 30 strategies that I use to win tournaments, color-coded and very easy for you guys to follow along. So you can get all of that on the Patreon with the link in the description below. If you can't afford to go there and subscribe on the Patreon, don't worry, this guide is more than enough, but it will take a little bit more, work on your end. And you have to maybe scour my YouTube videos for some of my older guides as well to keep a little bit up to date and sharpen your mind on Age of Empires. Thank you so much for watching once again. I appreciate all of those that support me on Patreon and all of you guys watching my guide right now on YouTube. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.